Okay, Happy New Year. And it is 2020. If you can't see that, I know it looks sort of like a 200, but it's not. You see that? Okay. Answering some questions, not at home, ringing in a new year. Out of state, but promised I would answer a few questions. Now on this one, I don't know whether your child has a 504 or an IEP, recognized at all with a disability. You bring up the bullying, and you bring up that your child was an A student and now is a D student, mainly in the classes where you've reported the bullying, but nothing's been done, which doesn't shock me. But, I'm not saying that the approach would be different depending on if your child was recognized in a specific class or not. And when I say a specific class, what I'm saying is disabled, any of those protected or recognized under a federal law that you could advocate under. Okay, that was it. Number one, though, is what would I do? I don't know how you're reporting the bullying. And I'll tell this to parents over and over and over again, guys. You need to look up your specific state. You need to Google anti-bullying legislation in public schools. And then what you'll see is I think it's a federal website, but it will bring up what the particular state laws are in each state where you live. And it will provide you sort of the guidelines on how to properly report bullying. Now, a lot of parents think, well, if what I just told the principal, I sat down with the principal multiple times. Guys, that's not how you do it. The principal listened to you, but you got to understand that the reason that the states went hardcore a few years ago with creating their own and crafting their own anti-bullying legislation is that they were trying to beat the feds at creating anti-bullying legislation. All right, so by doing so, they wanted to get in front of the feds before the feds created something that the states weren't going to be happy with. So by creating their own, what I call BS anti-bullying legislation with no teeth, which is primarily what is all around the country with a few exceptions. So I don't know where you live, but you need to look that up. What is your state's policies? In Alabama, for example, their policy, their state law for anti-bullying is that you have to fill out their form. All right, you can't just report it to the principal and have it recognized. You have to fill out the form. Filling out the form now all of a sudden blesses it and kisses it with legitimacy. Not reporting it to the principal. That doesn't cut it because you didn't follow the law or the guidelines. That directs you over to their specific anti-bullying form that the school has to create off of they offer a template, that the school could follow the state template, or they could create their own as long as it had all of the provisions inside of it. Now, if your child does have a disability with an IEP, anything like that, then you can enhance your report by saying that your child is being bullied because of their disability. Now that sort of ratchets it up. Everybody, hears that old saying, you throw down the card. Well, that's your card, all right, the disability card. And that throws a little bit more of an enhancement in there with regards to seriousness. But once you fill out the form, the recognized form, not emailing, not calling these people, then you make a couple copies. You keep one for yourself, you give one to the principal, and you send one to the superintendent. Now, these things have to be investigated at that point, and they're taken a little bit more seriously. And the reason a lot of schools don't necessarily want to follow up on bullying reports or do anything about it is because they get dinged under all of this reporting that they have to do. And it potentially could impact their school report card, for the state, which then doesn't make the principal look good, which doesn't make the superintendent look good. So that's why they really don't want parents to know about the form. They don't want parents to fill the form out, and they don't want to necessarily do anything about it, which is why they don't ever find anything when they do these investigations. So you just got to sit there and have a paper trail using whatever your anti-bullying legislation is for your state, the process that they lay out, and then just duplicated. The other one is the Office of Civil Rights. You can file a complaint through them. They have attorneys that will investigate this. Okay, but Office of Civil Rights will look at it, but you got to have, your child's got to be, well, I'm not going to say that. I think that they'll investigate bullying, but I'm just saying, I wish you would have put in there whether your child had some kind of, some reason these glasses are making my nose itch. I wish you would have put that in there as far as, IEP 504 or anything like that. But that's where I would go, because it seems like to me that you get to the bottom of it. The observation piece, I mean, they should let you observe, but schools hate to let parents observe. They believe it's disruptive. And the other thing is, what are you going to see? What are you going to find? Because in a lot of situations, everybody's on their best behavior when the parent's there. And I don't know what your child's coming home reporting, but the other thing is you need to keep a calendar or a notebook, and you need to quiz your child every day. Download what happened in each class so that you have a good timeline of events, so that every time something happens with regards to bullying, accusations, whatever, then you can fill out that form and fill out that form and fill out that form, and the squeaky wheel gets the grease. If you're using the form, then at that point, if they don't do anything, then you have a potential for a good federal case on them failing to protect your son on your bullying claims. But you got to have the documentation, or that documentation will support you in a claim filed with the Office of Civil Rights, because you'll have paperwork showing that you followed the process and they failed to respond. Okay? That's the important part. The observation piece, you might get to eventually, but I can see where they're going to continue to sort of just delay you, kick the can. All right? Not saying it's right, I'm just being realistic.